wakes up this morning, smile with the rising sun.
Bob Marley's Three Little Birds contains a hidden meaning the music industry never wanted you to discover. The true story behind this song was deliberately kept secret for decades. You must stick around until the end, because the final revelation about those birds will change how you hear this anthem forever. There was a time in the mid-70s when Kingston's heartbeat was not music, but weapon fire. Jamaica was split by politics, drenched in anxiety, and searching for light. Yet in that storm of uncertainty, there stood one man whose faith in Jah burned brighter than the chaos around him. Robert Nesta Marley, whom the world came to call simply Bob, found peace not in riches or fame, but in rhythm, prayer, and the simple joys of life. Every morning at 56 Hope Road, the sun rose on the same sacred ritual. He would stretch his limbs, read his Bible with quiet reverence, offer a prayer of thanksgiving, and then lace his boots for football, the one earthly game that made him feel closest to freedom. His close companion, chef, and spiritual brother, Gilly Dredd, would be nearby in the kitchen, preparing idle food while Bob's laughter echoed across the yard. On one such morning in 1976, at a time when the air outside was thick with political tension, Bob stood by his window after another morning of prayer and sport. He was calm, as though untouched by the fever gripping the island. He rolled a spliff and looked out into his garden, where nature always seemed to sing a hymn of its own. Then, as if summoned by divine timing, 3 tiny birds appeared. They fluttered down to his window, perched comfortably on the sill, and began pecking at the seeds he had tossed. Their song was light and careless, their presence peaceful and unbothered. Bob watched, smiling, feeling the moment pierce through the heaviness of the world around him. To him, this was no coincidence. Jah had sent a sign. He reached for a pen and paper. Words poured out like morning sunlight. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. What began as an observation of nature became a prophecy of hope. It was not poetry for poetry's sake, it was revelation. In those few lines, Bob Marley translated the essence of Rastafari, a belief that life, in its purest state, aligns with peace, love, and the natural order of creation. The melody that followed was simple, almost childlike in its ease, yet within that simplicity lay infinite power. He called it Three Little Birds. When the Exodus album was released in 1977, it carried some of Bob's most powerful works: Jamming, Waiting in Vain, Natural Mystic, Exodus itself. Critics hailed it as a masterclass in reggae and revolution. Yet Three Little Birds sat quietly near the end of the album, almost unnoticed. It wasn't the loudest or most political. It didn't preach rebellion. Instead, it whispered reassurance. It wasn't a cry against Babylon, it was a lullaby from Zion. In its gentleness lay strength, and in its calm, truth. At first, it received little radio attention. The world, perhaps, was too busy chasing louder voices. But time is the final judge of art. Years passed, and the song began to rise like dawn after a long night. Listeners found in it something universal, the comfort that no matter the struggle, life still sings. By the time the single was finally released in 1980, it climbed the UK charts and found a permanent place in global consciousness. From children's choirs to world leaders, from Rastafarian gatherings to global festivals, Three Little Birds became a hymn of optimism sung in every corner of the earth. As its fame grew, so did the curiosity surrounding its meaning. What were those 3 birds? What did they symbolize? In Jamaica, some claim they represented Bob's sacred herb plants, symbols of meditation, healing, and connection to Jah. Others insisted the birds were the I3's Rita Marley, Marsha Griffiths, and Judy Mowat, his loyal harmony trio, always by his side, lifting his message. But the truth, as revealed years later by Gilly Dredd, was as pure as the song itself. They were real birds, small, innocent creatures that had found friendship in Bob's quiet mornings. To him, their song was Jah's voice made visible. Gilly would later recount how those birds visited often, how Bob noticed their rhythm, how they reminded him of divine order even when the world outside was burning. In London, where Bob spent his exile, Three Little Birds took final form. He recorded it among the other tracks that would make Exodus one of the most celebrated albums of all time. But this song, this gentle whisper of faith, was something different. It wasn't born from political rage or cultural pride. It was born from serenity. It was Bob Marley looking beyond the noise and seeing creation for what it truly is: balanced, beautiful, and self-healing. Decades later, the song continues to breathe life into weary hearts. It has been reborn in countless voices. Robbie Williams sang it with pop tenderness. Maroon 5 gave it a modern pulse. Billy Ocean lent it his soulful glow. And Ziggy Marley, Bob's own son, renewed its light alongside Sean Paul for the Shark Tale soundtrack. It echoed hauntingly through Will Smith's Lonely World and I Am Legend, reminding viewers that hope survives even at the end of civilization. Everywhere it travels, the message remains unaltered. Don't let fear consume you, for the natural order of things leans toward peace. More than a song, Three Little Birds has become a universal prayer. It is sung at funerals and weddings, whispered to children at bedtime, played by street performers across continents. In its 3 short minutes, it captures everything Bob Marley stood for: faith, simplicity, and an unbreakable belief that good will always outlast evil. And when we sing along, we feel a glimpse of what he felt that morning at Hope Road. That even in the heart of chaos, there is order. Even in despair, there is melody. Even in suffering, there is grace. Nearly half a century since its birth, those same 3 birds still fly across time and generations. They hover above cities filled with stress, above nations in turmoil, above hearts that have forgotten how to hope. Their message hasn't aged, it has grown. It reminds us that peace is not naivete, it's resistance. Joy is not escape, it's survival. And love steady, fearless love is the truest revolution of all. So when Bob Marley sang, "Don't worry about a thing," he wasn't merely comforting his listeners. He was testifying, he was declaring to Babylon, to history, and to the human spirit itself that no darkness can drown the light of creation. The birds on his windowsill were not just birds, they were symbols of Jah's everlasting rhythm. And as their song carried across the years, it became the heartbeat of hope that still tells the world today. No matter what happens, every little thing is going to be all right. Now you know the powerful truth behind this legendary song. Tell me if this story changes how you hear these lyrics. Let me know what these 3 little birds represent to you personally. Share your own experience with how this song has provided comfort in difficult times. Make sure to follow for more uncovered stories behind music's most enduring anthems.